Hello everyone, this is Stacy. For those who do not know me, I am a registered dietitian and of course I'm a Christian. So because I am a dietitian and because I'm a Christian, I do get asked questions about different dietary practices in the Bible and what we should or should not be doing in terms of, you know, within the Bible. And one of those things is the Daniel fast. The Daniel fast is actually based off of a story in the book of Daniel, chapter 1 in Daniel. Um, it is a story about when the Israelites were taken into captivity by the Babylonians, and Daniel and his friends being Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, um, they were seen with favor by King Nebuchadnezzar. And so they were actually placed under a special training under the king's court where they would learn some Babylonian knowledge and skills because they gained favor. They looked very pleasing to the eye, and he wanted to use them, right? And so they gained his favor, and because of that, the king wanted them to eat within the king's table, right? Well, the Babylonians worshipped a different god than the God of Israel, and with that, they would sacrifice certain animals to their gods. And by sacrificing those animals, those animals would be their meat, right? I know a lot of people read through the Torah and you get to the dietary laws. And a lot of those dietary laws is actually regarding the animals that were used by these other countries that they would sacrifice to their gods. And so I strongly believe that part of the reason why the dietary laws were instilled was to make sure that the Israelites were not getting caught up in eating animals that were sacrificed to other gods. Okay, now I'm not going to get into whether the dietary laws is pertinent to today or not. I can talk about that another time. But just know that that was the main reason for the dietary laws was, if you know the pig, for instance, the pig was the most common animal that was sacrificed to other gods. Okay, so that was one of the animals that was listed under the dietary laws that the Israelites were not to consume. Okay, now with that said, the story in chapter 1 of Daniel, like I said, is now given favor and is allowed to eat food among the king's table. And among the food items was these types of animals that, according to their dietary law, they were not to eat because they were sacrificed to other gods. Now, Daniel really loved God. He really loved Yahweh. And so he did not want to defile his body by consuming these animals that were sacrificed to other gods. And so because of that, he requested that they only send him plant products. Okay. Now, so that was where the whole idea of the Daniel fast came from. Daniel never actually fasted. He never said that he's there to fast. His main objective was to make sure he would not sin and consume animal products that would be seen as defiling to his body. Okay, so I just want to make sure we understand that, because we hear Daniel fast and a lot of times people think that Daniel went on a fast. He didn't go on a fast. He was just obedient to the dietary laws. Okay, he never actually said that he's fasting. Okay, but with that said, that does not mean that you cannot apply these principles and do a Daniel fast. You definitely could do a Daniel fast. Okay. Now, this is where we get into the fun nutrition component of this. Okay. So, depending on what version of the Bible you're reading, it will say different words. Okay. We know it was a plant-based diet that he was on. Okay. If you're reading the New King James or NIV or NASB, a lot of the common versions of the Bible, it says that he was eating nothing but vegetables. Okay, it says vegetables. Now, if you look in the King James version, and if you look in Josephus, which I have right here, Josephus was a historian who translated their religious text into the Greek because there were people who were very interested in the Israelites' religion, and so he translated a lot of their texts, and he was a historian. And so when he translated the book of Daniel, he says that Daniel ate pulses and dates. Okay, pulses are legumes. Okay, beans. Okay, and then dates, we're familiar with dates. It's that fruit that's very sugary. Okay, so you have on one side they say pulses, and the other side says vegetables. Now, if you were to ask me, as a dietitian, based off of the knowledge that I know about nutrition, which one of these are correct, I would say that Josephus was correct. So Josephus in the King James Version is correct. Okay. Now, technically, you can make the argument that vegetables, that beans are included in vegetables, and that's what they meant when they said vegetables. But a lot of people who do the Daniel fast, they read this verse, it's verse 12 in chapter 1, and then they automatically think, okay, the Daniel fast means vegetables, so I should be eating salads and broccoli and all these things. And the problem with that is it's not sustainable. If you have ever tried to do the Daniel fast where you just ate vegetables, you felt miserable. And you would think to yourself, man, that was a miracle for Daniel to be able to go through all of this and come out seen as stronger and more healthier, right? And the reason why is because he wasn't just eating salad. What he was eating was beans and dates, okay? And we think about it being beans and dates, it makes more sense because beans, they have carbohydrates, they have protein in it, and it has a lot of calories in it, okay? Dates, the same thing, has a ton of carbohydrates and a ton of calories in it. So yes, you can sustain yourself eating beans and dates. You can get plenty of calories throughout the day eating beans and dates. If you're eating salad, in order to get enough calories, you have to eat the lettuce like all day long, right? It's very, very hard to do, and you probably will end up having like a sore mouth from chewing on the vegetables all day, right? So I strongly believe that when Daniel was at this time among the Babylonians, I believe he asked them for beans and dates. Okay, that's what I strongly believe. So with that said, if you feel led to do the Daniel fast, if you want to do a true Daniel fast, he ate a lot of beans and he ate a lot of dates. If you really want to be technical, okay? But not that you have to do exactly what he did. If you feel led to do a Daniel fast and you just want to, clean your diet and just eat plant-based, I think that's perfectly fine. It's all about the reason why you're fasting. If you're just fasting because, oh, this is a cool thing to do, or I'm trying to lose weight, or whatever the case may be, you really need to ask yourself, why are you doing it? Fasting in itself is not something that you just do just to do, right? If we're doing it for spiritual purposes, there has to be a spiritual reason why you're doing it, Okay. And so, and I could talk to you guys about fasting and the spiritual aspect of fasting in another video, but I just wanted to give you guys that little tidbit about Daniel and the Daniel so-called fast. And remember, Daniel didn't actually fast during this time. He never saw it as a fast. He just saw it as him obeying the word, obeying the dietary laws that were given to the Israelites at the time. He cared more to be obedient to the point that he will only eat beans and dates. He cared more about that, right? And that was the main point of him eating these things. It was about obedience. It wasn't about fasting itself. Fasting is more about prayer. It's about breakthrough for certain things. It's about sacrifice. And yes, he did sacrifice by only eating beans and dates. So you could make that argument, but overall, he never said it was a fast. But go ahead and do the Daniel fast if you want. I've done it in the past. And so that's my little nutrition and Christian biblical tidbit for you guys today. If you have any questions about the Daniel fast or anything that I'm talking about in this video, feel free, leave a comment down below, and I will be happy to answer it if it's something that I can't answer. And I want to encourage you to continue to walk your walk with God and to always push forward in your faith. All right, you guys, take care. Bye.